Welcome back, everyone, to your podcast, our podcast, the Popular Side Podcast. As always, we have Croatian Yinka Yusuf. That's an
Good
inside
evening,
joke.
people.
Um,
Inside joke indeed.
yeah, and I'm Akin K. Yinka is wearing a Abre Sports jersey that looks like a Croatian jersey. Uh,
Yeah,
interesting.
interesting.
Um,
There's a
and
story to that, but we'll leave that for another day.
okay, yeah, let's move on quickly. Yinka, how are you
Yes, sir.
doing?
I'm
How's
fine.
Ramadan treating you?
I'm a gentle boy. That's how Ramadan is treating me. Yeah. All the people that typically cross my path that I kick have been very, very lenient, very merciful, very chill. You know, So yeah, Ramadan is turned me into a gentle boy, and I like this version of me.
Right.
I'll try as much as possible
In,
to maintain that
yeah.
same situation all through this 90 minutes or so that we'll be recording. Yeah. So help me God.
So for people who don't know Yinka takes hiatus every year during Ramadan. You know, he shuts everything down. Uh, most communications. I mean, he still goes to work and all that. You know, uh, and then it goes right back to everything he was doing before when the month is over. So if you talk stuff about him now, he will respond to you in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So give him time. You know.
give me time indeed. give me ample time. I will respond. I will respond.
Give him time. He will come
Anyway.
back. He will not forget. He will come back. You know.
Oh my God.
All right. You got. Let's talk real quick about our giveaway. You have some news, so go for it.
Yes, I do. So we're extending the giveaway period for a couple of weeks, for 2 weeks, just to give more people opportunity to participate. So once again, subscribe to our YouTube channel, answer 3 questions as comments on that 50th episode of our YouTube, of 50th episode of this podcast, with 3 answers to 3 questions. So the first question is, who was our first studio guest? The second one is, which jerseys were we wearing on that day? And the last question is, which football club do we support? Pretty easy questions. So please do that. We'll give you an opportunity to partake, where we're giving out four jerseys for runner-ups, selected clubs, not all clubs. You'll see, we'll put up the flyer as I speak. Selected jerseys, and also the grand prize is a PS5. Yeah. So please do get involved, participate, and in 2 weeks' time we'll announce the winners. I promise we're not going to extend beyond 2 weeks next time. Okay? Okay.
All right. Sounds good to me. Thank you, sir. We will go straight into our worthy mentions.
Yes,
Inka,
sir.
last week we talked about Jamie Carragher. We wasted way too much time debating whether he was good or bad as a player. I thought it was good. You thought he wasn't that good. But you know, as these things tend to happen, when things start going the racist, ignorant route, you know, people double down. You know, like and because of the cartoon in chief, you know, in the state house where I live, you know, people are very emboldened to
Yeah.
show their whole entire, I won't cuss, in the process. So there's a certain man who, there's a saying here in the Black church. They say, "But for the grace of God, there go I." Right? You know, people say that. You know, who but for the grace of God would not have a career, right? And who but for the grace of lenient, you know, coaches, administrators, and family, you know, who stood by him while he had 20 years of being an idiot. I'm talking of Joey Barton, right? Joey Barton probably almost broke more legs than he scored goals, if we're being honest. I don't even need to check it, right? He made more boneheaded decisions than, great play, Joey Barton. But he thought he would have a pop, as they say, as well. And he put his mouth in this conversation. And his big contribution to the world is to declare that there's never been an African defender better than Jamie Carragher. I didn't know whether to like laugh or cry for this man and the spawn that is made, because he actually has children, which is shocking. You know, I mean, I don't want to go into my rant about how some people should not have children, but some people should not have children. Yinka, I don't know where to go with this. The man opened his mouth and said, "There's no African defender. Africa has never produced a defender better than Jamie Carragher." The problem, Yinka, is they define Africa as Africans who have played in the EPL when they were watching. You know, because when they started naming people, they didn't even go to Lucas Radebe, because Radebe is about 18 times as good a defender as Jamie Carragher ever was. And that's one man. Is like 95 million times the leader Jamie Carragher ever was. But maybe Joey Barton doesn't remember him. I mean, you know, it wasn't, I mean, anyway, Yinka, what do you think?
I think we can just quickly put this to bed by listing out a couple.
Okay, go for it. I'm sure you're ready to do that. Go for it.
List out a couple. You've mentioned Lucas Radebe. I can start with Laurent that played for Arsenal, right? I can even go as far as Jeremy Injitap. I'm picking people that played right back, like Jamie Carragher. I dare say Joseph Yobo is better than him, right? Somebody mentioned Kolo Toure to him, and it was like, Kolo Toure is not... I'm like... Kolo Toure is a better defender than Jamie Carragher. Stop this nonsense. Ashraf Hakimi is African.
And definitely a better overall player. Even if you want to debate, Kolo Toure was a baller. Go ahead, Yinka. Sorry.
Absolutely. So these are just right backs that I've reeled out. Yeah. So let's come to centre back, where Jamie Carragher moved in towards the latter part of his playing career. We have Stephen Keshi, we have Rigobert Song, we have Sami Kufor, we have Noureddin Nebet, we have Emmanuel Kunde, we have Taribo West. Do you want me to continue? Akin, is there anybody that I've listed in here that is not better than Jamie Carragher?
Uche Okechukwu was a better defender than Jamie Carragher.
I can continue listing these guys that are better than this guy. You talked about Lucas Radebe. Lucas Radebe is 1,000 times better than Jamie Carragher. This nonsense needs to stop. It needs to stop. Anyway.
Oh my God! Which of the Biik brothers was a defender? Which of the Biik brothers was a defender?
It was Kana. Oman was the...
No, I keep mixing up.
Was Kana the striker? Oman? Whichever of the Biiks.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Better than Jamie Carragher.
Yeah, you mentioned Noureddin Nebet, right? You already mentioned Noureddin Nebet.
Yes, I did. I mentioned Noureddin Nebet. Okay. Actually, I pitied him. I left out some people that I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe not. Come on, Akin.
Man.
These people think the sun rises and sets on their behind.
Yeah.
That's what they think.
Yeah.
And it's disrespectful. Absolutely disrespectful. Let's move on, Akin. So, I'm fasting. Let me just put it that way.
Yes, you're right. No, but I think the problem with this guy is, right. You know, I was saying Yoruba, you know, right? So meaning, if you've never been to another man's estate or farm, another man's father's estate or farm, you would think your father's estate or farm is the largest. And these guys don't, you know, how do I put it? They don't travel. You know, these guys don't travel. So they think life started with the Premier League. They don't even think about the league that was before it was rebranded
before the
Premier League. Yeah, which is kind of fascinating. But anyway, we did say we were gonna move on, so we will.
Let's move on.
Inka, we're gonna take a quick detour to the NBA. Remember the Luka Anthony Davis trade, where we had that whole debate about who got the better of the deal. The latest is, Kyrie Irving on the Mavericks did his ACL, so he's out for a year or however long it takes now with all the steroids they take these days. But there's a debate over, you know how it is. There's a debate over whether Anthony Davis should be shut down for the rest of the season. Now, this is important because when this news came out, the Mavs were 32-30. They'd played 62 times, they'd won 32, they'd lost 30. They were above 500 team trying to make the playoffs, or at least make the playing game, which I hate, but we're not going to get into that.
For another day.
And but people are really saying shut down AD. Now, with how much money they pay these guys, this is why it's hard for me to take the NBA in this iteration seriously. It's the only global sport that incentivizes its superstars to not play when the team is not competitive. In any other sport, you blame the superstar when the team is not competitive. It's on the superstar. And even in North America, right, where you have the draft, which I hate, the NBA is the only one where tanking, Yinka, is encouraged. So you can get a lower pick.
A better lottery pick. Yeah.
So go for it. These are my thoughts. What are yours?
So I think karma is blowing up, or is giving Dallas Mavericks the the middle finger at this point. Yeah. Because subsequent to the trade, the Dallas Mavericks hierarchy, their GM in particular, has been leaking out messages to the media, portraying Luka Doncic in bad light, saying all sorts of not too nice things about him, and saying we're happy with Kyrie, we'll move on with Kyrie, AD will be back, blah, 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 blah. And Kama looks at him and says, hold on there, young man, and decides to give them a lengthy injury. Now, on the Lakers side too, LeBron James too got injured yesterday evening. He's out for like 2 weeks or thereabout. But right now...
1 or 2 weeks.
Right? Yeah. 1 or 2 weeks. But right now, Kyrie, like you said, is out for the rest of the season. AD is supposedly out for like 2-3 weeks. I think he has 2 or 3 weeks left. Now, in 2 or 3 weeks' time, right now you are 10th in the Western Conference and you are in the playing position. Yeah? Phoenix Suns is right below you, and there's a high probability that they will catch up with you. So the Mavericks that thought they traded to be competitive this season will end up in a position where they will not be competitive this season, and they will be tanking to get a better playoff, a better pick, like you mentioned, which to me is absolutely ridiculous. And remember, AD has a player option, I think, after this season. So AD might actually say, you know what? I'm out of here also. Well, what am I doing? What am I doing here? I opt out of my player option. I'm a free agent. And he can go wherever he chooses to go to. So all of a sudden, the Mavericks, there's a possibility that they will move from Western Conference champs in one season, and 2 seasons after, they will be bottom of the pile. Bottom of the pile. And that is a sackable offense. It's even beyond the sackable offense, Akin. But it goes back to the point that you made, and you said it, and it stuck with me. This was purely a business decision. The current owners of the Mavericks are not really basketball fans. They're gamblers. Someone actually even said they want to move the team from Dallas to Las Vegas because Dallas doesn't want them to build a casino in Dallas. Yeah, so it's messy to say the least. But it's unfortunate for Kyrie, unfortunate for Mavericks. LA, on the other hand, are looking solid. They lost to Boston yesterday. Was a tight game. LeBron couldn't finish the fourth quarter because he felt some pull in his groin. Doncic is managing a lower back issue, and they have 2 other starters that are out. But right now, the Lakers are primed to contest in the West. Because
It's
this
amazing.
current Lakers team against OKC, who everybody believes is the number one candidate in the West, it's going to be tough for OKC. I see the Lakers will probably nick this, right?
Hmm.
So the Dallas Mavericks just more or less committed an NBA suicide. That's
Hmm.
the perfect way for me to wrap it up. Over to you, Aki.
Yeah. No. So a couple things happened with the Mavericks. Mark Cuban, who used to own the entire team and now owns 27% still, came
Mm-hmm.
out and said we should have gotten more. He criticized management.
Yeah, those are
Said
gotten
we should
four
have we should
picks,
have we should have
four
gotten more
unprotected
for.
picks.
Yeah, the problem is he still makes the basketball decisions. So there's no way that happened without your knowledge. So I don't really like the quote unquote Monday morning quarterbacking thing. Plus you're doing it 3 weeks after the fact, you know?
Mm.
So I didn't really like that. But I think we can all agree that that president slash GM, whoever is Nicole
Nico
Lewis or
Harrison.
Williams, Nico Harrison is not gonna be there this time next year. So I think it's not gonna be there when Kyrie's back. You know, and I think Jason Kidd will quickly be back on the Lakers bench as the assistant. You know, so
Akin, before you move on,
I think this is where
one
this is
interesting
where this is
fact.
trending. So
Nico Harrison
yeah, go for it.
is the same guy at Nike that fumbled Steph Curry's contract.
Mm. Oh my god,
He is the guy that they
that's not
couldn't
good.
pronounce Steph Curry's name, and you're trying to.
Mm.
Can you imagine? You're pitching for a star player, and that's why Steph Curry moved to Under Armour and is not with Nike.
Mm.
So this
Wow.
is the second. This is the second major catastrophe that Nico Harrison is involved in.
Wow. Okay, good to know. Very, 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 very good to know. Now, I just want to remind everyone who hasn't been paying attention that Luka has played 7 seasons in the NBA. This is his 8th of the 7 seasons. It's been a 5-time first team All NBA. I don't know if he was second or third team in those other 2 other seasons, but being All NBA means you're the top player in your position. So 5 times it's been the top player, not in the conference, in the entire league. So I can't even believe that people don't see this as being above reproach, that the Lakers would want to get him. But we're gonna wrap and move on from Dallas. All right, okay, Yinka, we're gonna move on from worthy mentions, and the next we're gonna go to our league review and preview. And this week we're starting with the Champions League, where the real knockout stage happened. The first leg of the real knockout stage. You know, we can all now pretend that the crazy new format never happened, because this is what we're used to, right? Yinka?
Yeah.
This is what we're used to. So you can stop complaining and just enjoy the games, all right?
Noted.
So we had the first legs this past week. We're recording on a Sunday. And there were some very interesting matchups and results. Okay? So I think we should start with Liverpool, even though I believe they played on Wednesday. I was traveling this past week, and I was in all day meetings on Wednesday and Thursday. So I didn't watch the Wednesday games. I watched highlights. But I was traveling on Tuesday, and I got to Boston just in time to watch the Arsenal game and catch up on the others on Tuesday. But Yinka, is there a luckier team in world football than Liverpool this season? Speak.
We thought they were lucky before until this game, and this game took the definition of luck to a completely different level, Akin. Completely different level. PSG had 27 shots, total shots. Yeah, 8 off target, 10 shots on target. The others were blocked.
Amazing.
Right? Liverpool had 2 shots on target. 1 off target, the other one was a goal. Liverpool scored a goal on XG of 0.27. PSG had an XG of 1.82 and didn't score any goal. Alisson went back to Roma days. Alisson
Yeah.
was completely on fire. Anything they threw at him, he saved. And PSG were also kind of wasteful, right, in their finishing. But Akin, I would absolutely applaud the PSG midfield of Vitinha, João Neves, and Fabian Ruiz, especially Vitinha and João Neves. They look like prime Xavi and Iniesta on the day. They ran rings around the whole of Liverpool. And frankly, I know Anfield is a different kind of, it's a different situation altogether. Anfield is like the 12th man. Liverpool get horns. They kind of get to a higher level. They power up, more or less, when they get to Anfield. But dude, if PSG played the same way they played at Anfield, I don't think, unless Liverpool's luck goes a notch higher, PSG might get something from Liverpool. I mean, at Anfield. What they get, I don't know, right? But this game was total domination by PSG. PSG is the first team that I've seen this season that completely dominated Liverpool. And I mean completely. Liverpool were gasping for air. I was watching the game. I'm like, what's going on? Who is this PSG team? And I don't fancy their coach. What's his name again? Luis Enrique as a coach. I like him,
Yeah.
but I'm not really a fan of him. But on the day, my goodness, Vitinha, João Neves, that's the best midfield display I've seen this season in the whole of Europe. It was a masterclass. But yeah, you can't have 27 shots and not score. I'm sorry. You can't. Irrespective of how crazy Alisson got, how fantastic Alisson was, you can't have 27 shots on target and not put one in the back of the net. Eh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's not acceptable. Not at this level. Okay.
So I thought it was interesting that the PSG players said, I think they said Arsenal and Bayern were better teams than Liverpool. They said, I thought that was interesting. And they said that after the fact.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna leave it alone. And see, and see what next season looks like when everyone, has their full complement of players. But I think I understand where they're coming from. But I don't think Wednesday, because I told you I saw extended highlights. I don't think Wednesday was about Liverpool. I think it was about PSG. I think PSG lack, what's the word I'm looking for? They lack conviction, and those 27 shots were mostly not good shots. I noticed the media is not talking about this, but I watched those. I'm like, those are not good, right? I mean, they were not penetrative shots. And okay, Alisson made some great saves, but not all the ones on target required a great save, and then the man that everybody loves to hate, which I still don't understand why they don't like this guy. I've defended him on here so many times. Nunes. And frankly, I'm an Arsenal fan. If you don't want him, please give him to us. We'll take him. I think Arsenal will be way ahead of where they are now if they had a Nunes in their ranks. You saw how disruptive this man can be. You saw the pass for the goal. I don't know. Since Firmino left, I don't think Liverpool has had any player, any striker, or anyone who plays through the middle who recognizes that run of Elliott and, plays that pass and gets that assist that same way. That was really amazing. And they won't, we can talk about what happened against Southampton, and, that's the yin and yang of Nunes. But again, for me, when someone is that young and has such otherworldly talent, in a season, and when I say season, I mean metaphorically, in a period when there are no number nines in world football. This guy is up there. Once you take out the Hollands and who, who's left? You can't teach height. You can't teach strength. You can't teach, you know,
Space.
athletic ability. You can't teach all that. You know, the man is strong, is disruptive. It will put the ball in the back of the net. I'm not worried about that. You know, yes, it's taken 3 seasons, but he's young. You know, he could play till he's 35. He will be fine. You know, for me, he's one of the best center forwards in the world. You know, again, I think for me, its class is permanent. Form can vary. His form is not great, but when I see the way he moves, how many people move like him? So that's my take on it. Yinka, what percentage chance would you give PSG to go to Anfield and get the result they need?
Given the fact that Liverpool's luck has been 1,000% at this stage, right? I don't think they have any. I don't think they can pull it.
I
Can
would
pull
agree.
through when they go to Anfield. I think
I
Liverpool
would
on the
agree.
day they might not even play well. There will be penalties, deflected shots. You know, um, and PSG will be knocked out. But you remember
I
when we
would agree.
did a couple of weeks ago, well, several months ago, actually, when we did overrated players and all, you and I had Donnarumma on our list. Yeah. Yes, last week was a prime example of why he's on the list. Yeah. Donnarumma had only one job to do. That was the only shot on target. He had 0 saves in the game, Aki. 0.
Yeah.
That was his only thing he needed to do all day.
I think it touched it. He may have touched
He
it.
touched
I'm not
it.
sure.
He touched it,
Yeah, it
and it
touched
crept
it.
under his finger, and he went in. Yeah. But Alisson, like you said, Alisson made 9 saves. Not all those 9 were spectacular, like you said.
No.
But Akin, there were some that I thought it was a goal. There was a particular
Yeah,
one
there was
that,
at least
what
3.
was his
There were
name?
like 3. They were like
Yeah, they were like
really good.
three or four thereabout. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Donnarumma, come on, man.
Yeah.
You had
Yeah.
one thing to do.
For me
I
with
don't
Donnarumma
have
is
any heart in the game. I'm sorry, Aki. I don't have any.
yeah.
I don't have any
No,
heart
go
in.
for it.
Whoever wins, it's fine. Yeah, but I just thought the PSG performance, right, did not deserve 0 points, or no, did not deserve
I
a
would agree.
loss in that game. That's all.
I
Yeah,
I
whoever
would
wins,
agree,
it's
and
good.
I would say I was early on the Vitinha, bandwagon. I was laughed at by some people. Yeah, I think he's a baller. It's
He's a baller.
unfortunate he's not playing in a team. He's not playing in the kind of midfield that PSG has had in the recent past, where you've had people that can carry his water for him and stuff. They don't really have those
Yeah,
strong running all over the pitch kind of midfielders anymore. But he's amazing.
yeah,
But anyway,
yeah.
okay.
Let's move on.
Yinka. So that
Yes,
happened
sir.
on Wednesday. On Tuesday, PSV, Eindhoven in the Netherlands hosted Arsenal. The first 15 minutes were interesting, kind of cagey. I think Arsenal could have had a penalty. Bunch of stuff could have happened. PSV should have scored. Hit the bar. Great defending from Gabriel, and then Arsenal goes down and scores. And apparently that just opens the floodgate. They score 2 more. It's 3-0, and then Partey gives up a penalty that it's just unfortunate at that level, should not be happening. This guy was not the guy he fouled was not dangerous. There were 2 Arsenal defenders around him. This is just not connecting. So they went into halftime down 3-1, and then come back, and Arsenal scores 4 more for a 7-1 win, their biggest away win ever in Europe. Were Arsenal great? Or were PSV bad? Or was it both?
PSG were terribly bad. Terribly bad. And I don't know the name of their coach. I didn't bother to check, right? That guy should be, well, I'm
Peter
happy.
Bosch, I think. Peter Bosch, I
whatever
think.
whatever he is, right? Whatever his name is. I'm happy he did what he did, but Akin, so what was he thinking? He's thinking, oh, I'm the Dutch Guardiola. I'm gonna do something different. West Ham gave you the template. Nottingham Forest gave
Mm-hmm.
you the template. United used the same template today, and they restricted Arsenal to almost not scoring a goal. But you decided, oh, you know what? It's going to be gone go. Let's go. I didn't watch the game live. I caught the last 30 minutes. But later on, I caught up with it. And I was watching the game. I'm like, if I'm PSG fan, I'll be like, guy, are you stupid? Are you stupid? You don't play this kind of game with Arsenal. They will kill you. And that's exactly what happened. You said, okay, let's play. I can play. You can play. You lock up and hit them on the counter. That's how West Ham won. That's how Forest got a 0-0 draw. That is how what's the name? United got a draw today. Just hit them on the counter. But you thought, oh, we can play. We don't. That guy did what Wenger used to do in those days to say, I don't care about my opponent. I believe in the strength of my team. My team can do this. And he was humble, severely humble. Severely humble. He just gave Arsenal the confidence that they're like, oh, really? You want to play us like this? Okay, let's go. And that's exactly what happened. They were pummeled 7-1. Yeah? So
So
Arsenal is like that club that has been, you've been busting to, you want to get out there, and somebody then gives you the opportunity to express yourself. And they just went haywire. And everything they did turned into gold, and they scored 7. Even though the XG was roughly 2 or 3 or thereabout, but they scored 7,
yeah,
right? So PSG were terribly bad. Arsenal were good, but they weren't that great. Yeah, PSV, Bosch, whatever your name is. If this were to be
Peter
a Donkey
Bosch.
of the Week episode, you would have been the Donkey of the Week. But because you gave my team a 7-1 victory, I'll let it pass. Don't do that again. That's crazy, man.
Yeah. So Inka, I thought you mentioned he thought it was Guardiola. I thought I was watching Ange Postecoglou. That's who I thought. That's who I thought I was watching. The high line, the defenders, trying to play with, Arsenal attackers, all of that. But I would give Arsenal some credit, because when Declan Rice scored against Man U today, that was Arsenal's first goal in 256 English Premier League minutes. So they had gone to a point, which I said last week, they get to several times a season under Arteta. We will talk about Arsenal down the road on this episode. For me, it's not about not having a striker. They've gone through this with Saka in the team and Martinelli and Odegaard. They always go through this. And when they're going through that spell, they're unable to do anything against the low block. And then sometimes they crush the low block. So Arsenal doesn't have a perpetual low block problem. They have a low block problem when they're not cooking, when their midfielders are not being creative. That's when they have a low block problem. But we're not going to over index on this. That was a 7-1 win, historic. Congratulations, Arsenal.
Yeah.
I think, so that was Tuesday. So the second leg will be in London on Wednesday. I would play the kids. You have a 6-goal advantage. Play the kids, rest up, and wait for the
There are no kids to play. Who are the kids?
Play Butler Oyedeji, right?
That's the only kid.
Well, play both kids, Nwaneri and Miles
They are
Lewis
starters
Skelly.
now. They are starters
I
now. They get
understand.
injured, you're in trouble.
Well, but they're only playing,
I
one
get what you're
half.
saying.
Yeah.
Play Zinchenko, play Tierney, play
Tierney. I would
Kivior,
play
play Ben
Zinchenko and
White.
Tierney.
I
Yep,
get your
that's
point.
it.
Play Jorginho, play Raheem Sterling. Yeah, I get your point. Play the B.
Yeah.
Play the C team. Don't even
Play
call
the
it
B
B team
team.
anymore.
Yeah, the C
Play
team.
the C
Exactly.
team at this point.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Inka. Leverkusen lost to Bayern. I think I predicted that Bayern will hold their own and win that
Yeah, yeah,
tie.
you
I
did.
think I did.
I picked
I think
Leverkusen.
I
Yeah, you picked Bayern.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's just experience at the highest levels that he came down to. Did he end 2-0? I think he ended 2-0.
3.
Was it 3?
And then 3
3,
nil.
3-0,
Yeah,
3-0.
it was 3.
And I think it was just experience. But Yinka Musiala did a thing. It did this flick, like no look flick. And I was just like, man, this kid, it's just, I don't want to go, just a joy to watch. Just a joy to watch. But do you have any thoughts? Is the Leverkusen spark dead? What do they have to do to go back to the dangerous Leverkusen they were last year?
I think the spark is dead. And I
Okay.
think they kind of they over I don't want to say overestimated or they over what's the word now? They put themselves on a higher pedestal than they actually are after that season. If you look at the
Yeah.
team from that season to this season, did they really buy anybody significant? Was there really any change in that team? And so when you get when complacency sets in, this is what happens. They needed something to shake things up, but they didn't do that. Yeah. And last season was Leverkusen, performing at 1,000%. Everything that could go well went well for them. But now they're in a lull where anything that could go wrong is more or less going wrong. So they lost 3-0 to Bayern. And yesterday at home, was it Werder Bremen or who? I can't remember who they were playing. They lost 2-0 at home. And if you watch the highlights of that game, they were missing chances left, right, and center. And this guy just went on the counter, scored the first goal. Same thing, second goal in injury time when Leverkusen was trying to, get an equalizer. And this guy scored the second goal. So nothing is working for them right now. Xabi Alonso needs to change something. So for this season,
Yeah.
the spark is dead. They can't. I don't see them
Yeah.
turning around a 3-0 deficit to Bayern. I don't see it happening. Well, fingers crossed. I've said a lot of things that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So,
I don't see it. I don't.
but
No,
I
to be
don't
honest,
see it.
Yinka, I think it reminds me. It's not a perfect comparison, but it reminds me a little bit of Leicester in 2015, 2016. I would argue Leicester probably had more underrated players, like great players that were underrated at the time. I mean, N'Golo Kante, Jamie Vardy, some of those guys were really, really good, right? Maybe at a higher level than some of the players at Leverkusen. But
Yeah,
they took advantage of their circumstances, right? So
yeah,
with Leicester, it was City, going through transition with Manuel Pellegrini, it was leaked that Pep was coming the following
yeah,
season and he's finding out in the middle of the season. It's all a mess, right? Spurs were being Spursy. Arsene Wenger was busy messing things up, and Chelsea were like 10th or whatever they were that season, right? So, there was no one competing, at the highest levels, I mean, Leicester won with, by 10 points against, over Arsenal. And
yeah,
for me, the same thing happened with Leverkusen. There was no way Bayern were going to win the league last year. So the lane was open for them. Yeah, they were excellent. They did it in fantastic fashion, but
yeah,
they overperformed, like you said, Yinka. They were operating
yeah,
at 8,000. And they were always going to come back down to earth. All these unknown guys were going to want more money. What you needed
yeah,
to do was to bring. So, but teams get into this mentality that, oh, I need to bring in, you've said this before, that I need to bring in players that are better. No, you don't. You need to bring in competition, so bring in
yeah,
someone who is just as good so they can fight it out and duke it out, and then you don't get injured all the time because you're playing 90 minutes. So you don't need
yeah,
to bring in players that are better than what you have. Okay.
yeah. I agree.
Yinka, the last matchup we're going to talk about was the Madrid Derby. So
Yeah.
Atletico Madrid, Athletic Madrid, sorry. No, Atletico Madrid.
Atletico
I'm
Madrid.
confusing
Yeah,
that with Athletic Bilbao. Atletico Madrid were playing Real Madrid. And I told you I just couldn't pick this game. Um, but I suspected that Real would eventually have too much. Now I believe this was at the Bernabeu, right? This was at the
Yeah, it
Bernabeu,
was at the Bernabeu. Yeah,
right, Inka? It was at the
yeah, it
Bernabeu.
was.
The first two goals. Oh my God, the
Oh
Rodrigo
my god.
goal. Oh my God,
Oh my god.
that's my favorite. That's my favorite Real Madrid player. I love this kid. I think his football intelligence is just amazing. His speed and then his quickness. It might be it may not be the fastest, but I think it's the quickest player on the team. I think it's
Yeah.
quicker than Mbappe. It's just and then he's fully balanced. When I think about Vini, this guy's completely. Oh my God, I love the kid. I don't want to rave too much, but I love the kid. And then the equalizer. Oh
Oh
my.
my god.
Okay. Although I gotta say the defender. Who was it again? The guy
I
with the
think it
dreadlocks.
was
Kamavinga.
Kamavinga.
It
It
was
was
Kamavinga.
Kamavinga. Yeah.
You can't let them do you like that, bro. You can't. Come on
But he
now.
wasn't
I don't.
expecting the guy to shoot. That's it.
No, but
Nobody
that's the
was
thing.
expecting the guy to shoot.
But the guy gave him he juked him and it went this way. I'm like, come on. Like, it was too easy, Yinka. It was too
So
easy.
he gave him. I'm not letting you go byline. Go this way and then pull out and let my defenders deal with it. I thought he was going to pull out also. I thought he was just going to whip the ball. He curved it. Even Courtois wasn't expecting a shot there,
No,
right? And it was that
you're right.
unexpectedness that beat Courtois, and it was a fantastic goal. Yeah, and I thought the first goal was great. You on our group, you mentioned it. You were like, "Wow, great goal from whatever." So I saw Alvarez's goal before I saw Rodrigo's goal, and I was now confused. I was like, "Which one was he referring to?" Then I saw Rodrigo's. I was like, "Ooh,
Yeah.
decent." But Alvarez's goal was just, come on.
I think it was
It's
better.
something else.
I think Alvarez's
What
was
do you
better.
think? Alvarez's goal was better.
It was
It was
amazing.
better.
It was
It
amazing.
was amazing.
It was
It was
amazing.
amazing. Yeah.
So can you call this matchup? Who do you think is gonna win?
Okay. So number one, I think what's the name of the coach again? Simeone, your friend.
Simeone.
I think Simeone made a very, very, he made a grave mistake by not starting Soloth. Yeah? He only gave Soloth 10 minutes. That is, for me, Soloth is the game changer. Right? Soloth is the one that will hold on to the ball and bring people in. Yes.
Okay.
You can't have two dwarfs. Sorry, Griezmann and Alvarez. You can't have two dwarfs playing up front against Real Madrid. What are you doing? The advantage you have is I want a big guy and I have a small guy running off him. So I thought he was going to play Soloth. And the games this season that have been difficult for Madrid, Soloth has kind of been, an escape for them when games are tough. You have a focal point that you can ping the ball to. Because apart from Alvarez's magic that led to the goal, Madrid were kind of tame. Atletico. They didn't do anything. Real Madrid more or less controlled the game. Right? So for you to, if I were him, I would have started Solo. One way or the other.
Okay.
Right? I think that front line is too small. They are too minute, right? For you to do something. You have Correa, you had Alvarez, and you had Griezmann. These guys are they're small kids. Yeah? I mean, not small kids, but you get what I mean. They're not biggest in terms of size. They're small in stature. Yeah? So I don't know if it will change, but I think I would have preferred Solot up front in that game, frankly.
So the game moves on Wednesday to the Metropolitano, right? So who do you think would be the game changer? Yeah, who do you think would be the game changer in that second leg?
See, now that Atletico need to score, yeah, I think it's still going to be Julian Alvarez. Yeah, frankly.
Okay.
I think it's still going to be Julian Alvarez. But I I still go with. I would prefer if Julian Alvarez is played off a focal point. He is more dangerous if you do that. Yeah. But I don't. Simeone is stubborn. I thought you were stubborn. Simeone is stubborn. Yeah. And I think he'll still go with the same formation.
Yeah, probably will.
And it's gonna be a high scoring game also, because now Atletico have to score.
Really?
They have to open.
Okay.
They have to open up. They can't come and play defensive when you need to score. They're down 2-1.
They might try to nick a goal. Keep it tight and then nick a goal.
Real Madrid will score them. I don't see that game going through 90 minutes without Real Madrid scoring. Real Madrid will score. The question is, how many goals can Atletico put in Real Madrid's net? Yeah?
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, anything else on the Champions League, or are we good to move?
Yeah, I need to quickly address one point.
Okay.
Which I promised I was going to address on our group. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is around Raphinha. Raphinha scored the only goal against Benfica. And I guess last week when we were talking about Ballon d'Or and you said who are the competitors and you said Raphinha, someone said I scoffed at that idea, that was kind of insulting to Raphinha. And I'm like, I didn't really do that. Is Raphinha having the best season in his career at Barcelona? Of course he is. But is Raphinha clearly the best player? Is he clearly the best player on that Barcelona side? He is, but he's not as crystal clear. Yeah. And I'll explain. When he was given the captainship band a couple of weeks back, you and I looked at it one way, yes or no? Remember?
Yeah, we did.
Yes, we did. And we're like,
we did.
Why are you giving him the handband? Right? We felt one kind of way. We said, oh, there are more people that are deserving. Yeah? Now, that's one. 2, I was presented stats to show that Raphinha is on fire. And I'm like I say, stats tell you a lot, but they don't tell you everything. The highest goal scorer in Barcelona is not Raphinha. It's Lewandowski. The highest number of assists in Barcelona is not Raphinha. It's Lamine Yamal. Right? And with the way this thing works, so if I say right now, look at the Barca team, and I'm trying to allocate the success of Barcelona this season to players, right? And they say allocate percentages. I'll probably give Raphinha 50-60. I'll give Lamine Yamal maybe another 30. I mean, I'm being gracious, yeah. And I'll give Lewandowski is whatever too. But if I go to Liverpool and I do the same thing and I say, why is Liverpool where they are today? I'll give Mo Salah like 85-90.
I would agree.
That's the truth.
I would agree.
I'll give Mo Salah like 85-90. So if Liverpool have only lost 3 games this season, one was a game at home to Nottingham Forest that they should have won. The second one was the FA Cup where they played their B team. And the third one was an irrelevant game that they lost at PSG Eindhoven. They are top of the Premier League, top of the Champions League. Yeah. And their best player that I can allocate 95% or 90%. So when we're talking about Ballon d'Or right now, who is comparable to him? No. So I'm not saying Raphinha is rubbish. I'm not saying Raphinha is rubbish. That's not what I meant. But Raphinha is not at the Salah level. That's all I'm saying. And final point, Aki. Remember when because our friend also mentioned the fact that EPL is a yeye league, which is become monotonous at this point. Raphinha was in the EPL. Yes or no?
It was.
Was Raphinha doing this while he was in the EPL?
As they love to say, he wasn't. He didn't pull up any trees. He didn't pull up any trees at Leeds.
All of a sudden, if I go with you people's analogy and I say Raphinha was a failure in the EPL, now he's the best player in La Liga, that means La Liga is a stupid league. Does that make sense?
Okay. No, it doesn't.
It doesn't make sense. But so let's stop this. I can say the same for Julian Alvarez, right? I can say the same for Julian Alvarez. It does not make sense.
EPL, though. It was good in the EPL.
But was he doing the same thing he was doing right now in Atlético Madrid when he was at City?
It was good. It was
exactly my point. Exactly my
Yeah.
point. So let's stop all
Raphinha
this.
wasn't good. Raphinha
You
wasn't
you
good
don't
at Leeds.
you don't need to
It-
dumb a league for you to prove your point that a league is better. It is lazy argument, right? And in borderline, come on, it's not logical. And that's
okay.
my case.
I'm gonna make just 2 points real quick. So one
Yes,
is
sir.
just a correction. Liverpool lost to Plymouth Argyle or whatever. Argyle.
That's the FA Cup.
Oh, that's the FA. Okay, sorry. I
That's
didn't
the
hear
FA
you
Cup.
mention
That's
that.
why I said they
Okay.
played their B team or C team as
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
3 games they've
All
lost
right.
this season.
All right. So with Raphinha, so I try to be honest, right? And I don't want to change my recollection. I can change my mind, but I don't want to change my recollection based on, recency bias or whatever, right?
Yeah.
When he was leaving Leeds, when Raphinha
Mm-hmm.
was leaving Leeds, Arsenal wanted him and
Yes.
Barcelona wanted him. I wasn't
Yes.
sad that we lost him to Barcelona. And it wasn't because I didn't like him. It was because of the amount of money he was going to command. And I knew that Saka would play ahead of him. So on the right side, Saka would play ahead of him. He would have to switch to the left side, but I didn't mind him being a starter for Arsenal. So I want to make sure I'm being as truthful as possible about where my
Yeah.
head was at when it was going. But when he said, I want to go to Barcelona, I'm like, okay, I'll give Arsenal the benefit of the doubt here. They did everything they could. I liked him.
Yeah.
I watched Leeds a lot because of all the American kids there, right? So, and the American coach. So I watched him a lot. He's good. It wasn't great. I said earlier that it wasn't good at Leeds. No, I shouldn't have said that. I should have said it wasn't great at Leeds. It was good. It was good. It wasn't great at Leeds. And I was okay with Arsenal not getting him. I was happy when we were trying to get him. When we lost him to Barcelona, I was like, oh, that's sad. But I didn't cry or anything. But what I would say for Enro is Raphinha may not have the most goals or the most assists, but I think what Enro is trying to say is being the soul of Barcelona. It's been the heart and soul of Barcelona this season. Is the reason they're hard to beat, if that makes sense.
That is taking it too far. And that is you disrespecting. No. And that is you disrespecting a couple of other people that have really significantly contributed. So once again, like I said, when I told you, when I said, sorry, Akin, when I said,
no, go on.
Allocate percentages of Barcelona's success. When I said 50, what did you say? You said it was too much.
I said, oh. No. I said, I was surprised that you will go that much.
So you agree with the 50%?
If you made it 40, I would be okay with it. You know what I mean? If you made it 40, I would be, because he hasn't done it all season. That I think that's why he hasn't done it all season. But when they had that little dip and they came back, he was the one who was like, okay, I got to go score all these goals. So that stretch where he scored all those goals, and then the way he fights in games, that's not really Barcelona's style, but he's done it.
I get all that. Okay. I look at Kubasi. I can say the same for Kubasi. I mean, that kid has been a revelation.
That's my favorite.
I'm telling you, for me, that's like my favorite Barca player. I look at the young boy, I'm like, the reason why Barca is top of the league right now, I might actually point to that boy also, because he came out of nowhere and he has been solid for them, right? But I think on the other hand, Barca lost some games at home. He lost at home to Leganes. He lost at home to Las Palmas. Raphinha played these games, and I'm like, okay, do something now. So I'm not saying Raphinha is a rubbish player or Raphinha didn't. If they come up with the top 3 list today and they say, oh, who are the top 3? If we put Raphinha there, oh, well and good, I don't care. It's fine. I'm okay with it. But Salah is having the seasons of seasons. Is having arguably one of the best seasons of any player in the EPL. When you people consider stats, yeah. So they're not at the same level. That's all I'm saying. That's my case.
So this is not original. I heard what's this ESPN guys, Gab McCarthy, call Kubasi Kubaresi, last season. So I also started calling him Kubarasi, because I love this
that
kid. I
kid.
love that. I mean, he was 17. I think
love
he's only
that kid.
18 now. He was 17 last season. And you're
Love that
not
kid.
supposed to be this good as a center back at 18. You're not supposed to be this good.
And the
This
Asensio
is
kid at Madrid. Those two.
Oh my
The
God.
Asensio kid at Madrid and Kubasi. Amazing.
The positioning of Asensio, right? The way, anyway, but that's not the topic of this conversation.
That's not the topic. Anyway,
okay.
Let's move on.
All right, so no more Champions League. We'll see what happens
we'll see what
this
happens
week. So we'll
this week.
All right. Leaving the Champions League, let us do a very, very, very quick European tour. We've already talked about some games and leagues already, but I think we should start. Actually, let's start in the EPL. Yinka, could the unthinkable happen? Could City miss Champions League football? Because right now, Yinka, they're not in the FA Cup, right?
They're still in the FA Cup.
No. That's not what. Are they still in the FA Cup? Yinka, are you sure?
I think they're still in the FA Cup. Am I missing something? They won their game against Plymouth. They are still in the FA Cup.
Okay, let's. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. Okay. So right now, could they miss the Champions League based on where they finish this season?
Right now they are 5th on the table, right? With 47 points.
Mm-hmm.
And from between Liverpool, between Chelsea, who is on 49, and Newcastle is on 44. That's 4th to 9th. There's a 5 points difference. Yeah. So that means City is battling with, dare I even add Arsenal and Forest to it, because I think right now, I don't think Arsenal should be thinking of catching Liverpool. Right now, Arsenal should be thinking of, these people behind me should not catch me, right? So that means that Arsenal, Forest, Chelsea, Man City, Brighton, Aston Villa, Bournemouth, Newcastle are all fighting for 2 spots. We don't know what this season will translate to, whether the EPL will have 5 slots next year. I don't think that has been confirmed yet, has it? I don't think so.
Yeah, we don't know.
But
it's possible.
Based on,
we don't know.
It is possible. But let's assume it's still the 4 that we're working with. Even Pep himself said the last 11 games, that's 10 now, isn't it? The last 10 games for us are cup finals. We cannot afford to drop points anymore. Yeah? So what I wanted to do was quickly go through their last 10 games. So just bear with me a second. So
go for it.
So City's last 10 games, they are home to Brighton. I think they should win that. Fingers crossed.
I'm not so sure, but go on.
Hold on now. Let's just run through everything. So they're home to Brighton. Then there's an FA Cup, so I'll leave out the FA Cup. So it's home to Brighton, home to Leicester. I think that's guaranteed 3 points. I don't think that's a problem for them.
Yeah.
They're away to United. Away to United is a banana peel any day.
They should win it. They should win that.
But remember, it's the same thing we said, but United beat them at the Etihad. Yeah? So that's why I said it's a banana peel. They are home to Crystal Palace, away to Everton, home to Villa, home to Wolves, away to Southampton, home to Bournemouth, away to Fulham.
It's a lot of home games.
But in this, the people that they are battling with for this top 4, so they have the Bournemouth. Bournemouth is in there, right? They are home to Bournemouth. They are home to Villa. Villa is also part of the people contesting. So those are the 2 people. And there's also Brighton. So the next game, the Brighton. So they are still playing 3 people that they are contesting with. So if they fail to win those games, it only means those people will share points with them. And it's making it more difficult for them to win, to make top 4. So to just answer your question simply, just like Pep said it, you have 10 cup finals. Yeah? 10 cup finals. The way they're playing, I can remember I told you, you said they will be fine. I believe they will ultimately be fine. But I was worried with the style of play, the way they were playing, the energy levels, and the young people they brought in, they're too young to make anything happen. Kusanov is doing fine. He's too young to make things happen. Mamouche
Player of
flashing
the
the
month.
pan.
Player of the month. Player
Yeah,
of the month.
I mean, I've been impressed with him, but he's 19. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's 19. They didn't buy him for now. They bought him for the future. So the big guns need to step up and deliver. And I'm looking at Phil Foden. Frankly, Phil Foden has had a disappointing season. Haaland has been Haaland, right? Yes, he's not where he should be, but he's still banged in 20 goals this season. Yeah? And he's been injured on and off for a while. So I get all of that.
Yeah.
But Foden should be delivering more, should be doing more for City. It will be disastrous if they miss the Champions League. Disastrous. Do I think they will make it? I think they will. I think Chelsea might be the one that will. Nottingham Forest, for me, they are the revelation of the season. Yeah, we're going to talk about Coach of the Year later. Nottingham Forest, I want them. I really want them to be in the top 4. Yeah, I love the way they play. They respect their opponents. They just don't play anyhow, and they've had a fantastic season. So City have their work cut out for them. They might miss out on Champions League.
Okay, I have nothing to add. I think you're right. I think they make it. I don't think they'll miss out, but we're going to leave that alone. Yinka, who is your EPL Coach of the season so far?
I think I gave it away already.
Yeah, it's mine as well. It's the same one. We can both say it at the same time. It's Nuno.
It has to be Nuno.
It's Nuno.
We should talk about Nuno.
Okay. Yeah, we should.
I saw a lot of people saying it is Slot, and I'm like, yeah, Slot is a close second. Maybe not even close, but it's second. I agree, right? But if you are talking about expectations and reality, by a mile is Nuno. Yeah. Forest have proven, right? They are the only team that beat Liverpool this season. Forget whether it was a fluke or not. The only team that beat Liverpool in the EPL this season is Forest. They've beat City, right? They beat City just this weekend, didn't they? They did.
Yeah.
These guys
1-0.
1-0. They've won the same amount of games as Arsenal this season. And they are scoring goals. They scored 45 goals this season, Aki. Come on, you gotta give it to them. Yeah? You gotta give it to Nuno. Nuno, for me, Coach of the Year, as of today. I don't know what transpires over the next 1, 2, 3 weeks, or maybe they will miss out on Champions League. But right now, if I have a vote for Coach of the Year, I'm giving it to Nuno. And Slot is number 2. And, we can line up the other ones. I don't care. But Slot 2, Nuno number 1. Yeah.
So normally we don't discuss these topics before we start recording. This was one of the few ones that I asked you when I saw the question. I'm like, Nuno, what do you think? And I thought you were gonna push back and say Slot, but then you also said Nuno. So let me throw some numbers at you, Yinka, since people love numbers. Yeah. So I'm going back to the table from last season, Yinka. So Liverpool came third. Last season, they finished with 82 points. They won 24 matches. They won 24. They drew 10. They lost 4. Right? They scored 86 goals. They conceded 41. Goals difference of 45 for 82 points. It's actually interesting because I think Arsenal may end up with roughly the same number of points this season as Liverpool got last year, but we'll get to that later. Because right now Arsenal have only lost 3 times. They've already drawn 10 times and they've won 15 times. But I don't think Arsenal can win 9 more games. I don't think so. I don't think they can win 9 out of their 10. So they may fall short of the 82, but it will be very close. But that's where Liverpool were. Yinka, where were Nottingham Forest last year? They were in 17th.
Yep.
They were well clear of relegation. They finished with 32 points. Luton Town, just below them, finished with 26. So they were 6 points above safety. So, but Yinka, they won 9 games. They drew 9 games. They lost 20 times. They scored 49 goals and conceded 67 for a goals difference of minus 18. flip that into this current season, Yinka, and it's mad. It's insane. It's insane. Right now, with 10 games to go for them, they've won 15 times, same as Arsenal. They've drawn 6 times. They've lost 7 times. They lost 20 times last year. They've scored 45 goals in 28 matches. Last year, they only scored 49 in all of the matches. They've conceded 33 times. They conceded 67 times last year, right? Goals difference of 12. What was the goals difference again last year? Minus what? Minus, what did I say it was? I'm looking, minus 18. Right now, they're 12. They're plus 12, right? So for me, when I think about Nottingham Forest this year, obviously the 2 speedy wingers immediately come to mind, right? Elanga and Hudson-Odoi. The guy he plays in the middle, remind me his name again, who also used to be a winger or can play. Yeah,
Gibbs White.
Gibbs White. I think that's his captain right now. The defense, those 2 center backs, unbelievable, right? The right
Moreno
back,
and Milenkovic. Yeah.
Moreno, oh my God, unbelievable. The right back, amazing. And then, of course, the big oaf at number 9, who's having just an amazing season for his age. This is someone that left Burnley, went to Newcastle, didn't cut it out there, and look at him now. And then, of course, when he leaves, Taiwo Awoniyi can come in, and so they know, like you said, they know who they are. I love it. So for me, look, Slot deserves all the accolades, but the cupboard wasn't bare when he came in. With Nuno, there was nothing there, right? There was nothing there. So this is amazing to me. All right.
And Akin, before we move on, if you look at the transfer business they did this summer, it's only Milenkovic that is a key player that they bought this season. So it's the same people from last season, more or less. Yes, they bought some other. There's this Jota guy. There's a Ramon Sosa, but Milenkovic is the only key player that is performing this season that came in the summer. So just buttresses the fact that this guy has looked at that team and is making them perform at the top level, right?
Yeah, it's amazing.
It has to be him. It has to be him, at least so far.
And he's hilarious, right? After the Arsenal game, I don't know if you saw this. They asked him, they're like, hey, what did you see out there that was different?
Why did you play for at the back?
Why did they play for at the back? And it was like, they don't have a striker.
They don't have a striker?
It's like pretty much, they don't have a striker.
But that's the truth. They don't have a striker.
I was like, ouch,
Anyway.
Okay.
Let's go.
There was a madness in the Bundesliga.
That's an understatement.
This weekend. I believe the top 4 all lost at home. I think because all of them lost, it was a good week for Bayern, because Bayern beat their rivals in the Champions League. They lost at home, but everyone else lost at home. So it's like, okay, as you were, that's one more round that Leverkusen doesn't get to catch up with Bayern is how I'm looking at it. So Leverkusen is running out of room, to catch Bayern, and they have a 0-3 deficit in the Champions League. They got to turn around this week. So, does this change anything for you?
It doesn't. Like we talked about Leverkusen earlier on, I think it's curtains for them this season. But was interesting because the game was actually in the afternoon. I was working and I had the game. I was keeping an eye on the game. Like I said, Bayer Leverkusen, they did all the playing, but the opponent scored. So at the point, Munich had the red card. And when Mönchengladbach scored the 3rd goal, because the Bayern game was 3-2, when they scored the 3rd goal, it was announced in the Bayer Leverkusen stadium. And there was, jubilation in the stands. Like, hey, they're losing. Okay, guys, let's go. And all of a sudden, the team goes, was it Bochum or who? Werder Bremen, rather. Werder Bremen went the other way, and Werder Bremen scored the 2nd goal. you could see the air get sucked out of the stadium.
Mm.
Their heads dropped. Xavi looked pale. The players looked pale. And I'm like, I think that's it. That's the proverbial straw that will break their camel's back. They're done, right? And I was like, okay, interesting. So let's see. So Dortmund played on Saturday also. Dortmund lost at home. So I'm like, okay, so let's see what Eintracht Frankfurt will do. Eintracht Frankfurt have an eye on the Europa League, so they also play the weekend team. They lost at home today. Berlin beat them 2-1 at home. I'm like, what's going on in the Bundesliga? What's wrong with all of you? What's wrong with all of you? But it's interesting. I've not checked, but I don't think this has happened. It's very odd that the top 4 teams will lose at home in a week. It's odd. But it just tells you all of them have an eye on Europe.
Yeah.
I think that's the main message here. Yeah.
And I think we should clarify, Dortmund are not actually in the top 4, but we're talking traditionally they are a top 4 team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mainz is actually the 3rd team or the 4th,
Yeah.
the 3rd in
They
the
won.
league. They won away. They won 3.
So that was
but
good for them.
Dortmund is our team.
Oh, it's just sad what's happened to Dortmund. But Adeyemi scored a great goal though, in the Champions League. So there is that. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yinka, our favorite league. Our favorite.
Yes,
we don't know whether they're mediocre or great, but they are competitive. We know that. Serie A is heating up.
Seriously.
What say you?
So Napoli won. 2-1, they barely won. Inter won, they were down 2-0 at home. And they scored 3 goals, bam, 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 bam. And they won 3-2. Then Juve Atalanta was one of the games we previewed last week. It ended before we started recording. Juventus were pummeled by Atlanta. And they were seriously beaten.
Lukman
scored 4. Lukman scored the 4th.
4.
So right now it's Inter top with 61 points, Napoli second on 60, and Atlanta on 58. And guess what next week's game is? Inter are coming to Atlanta next week.
Ooh.
I'm so looking forward to that game. I think that whoever wins that game, right? I can't even say that because Inter is still in the Champions League, so there's a bit of distraction for them, But Napoli don't have anything to play for. Atlanta is also out of the Champions League.
Yeah.
They have nothing to play for. So that's why I'm giving the edge to either Napoli or Atlanta. Because for Inter have a deep squad, a very deep squad.
An experienced
squad, So they might be able to pull it off, yeah, and still win. So it's up. It's open in Syria. Yeah. Anything can happen. So we just keep our fingers crossed and see how that goes.
So on this one, I would say I was wrong. I think it was 2 weeks ago or maybe last week where I said, oh, maybe Atalanta is dropping off. And you were like, no. And then you gave us some stats. Because now when I look at it, you look at those top 3, 61, 60, 58. But look at the goals scored and goals against.
Yep.
Inter and Atalanta have both scored 63. Napoli has only scored 45. Yep. And then goals against, Inter 27, Atalanta 26, Napoli 23. So Atalanta is actually leading on goals difference, 37.
Yep.
One above Inter. So it's as tight as it comes. The difference between Inter and Atalanta is 1 loss, or conversely 1 win, however you want to look at it, and 1 goal conceded. One more goal conceded by Inter. So it's as tight as it gets. So that next week, I think I have to make sure I watch that game because that is going to be crazy. That is going to be crazy. All right. So, Yinka, we're gonna move on to games coming up in the coming week. So we've already talked about the Champions League. So games outside of the Champions League to look out for. There's a Carabao Cup final coming up. It's Liverpool versus Newcastle. I think if both sides, and this is at Wembley, obviously, right? It is at Wembley, right? So
Yeah.
if both sides play their strongest teams, I think Liverpool will blow Newcastle away. Like, I mean, it's just, for me, it's not even close, right? It's not even close. And Newcastle's greatest strength is Isak, right? It's not even close. It's Isak. I don't care who else is there. They only matter because they have Isak, right? But guess what Liverpool do have? They have two giants on form in the center of the park. It doesn't matter. And then they have Gravenberch in front of them. So for me, this could be one of the most frustrating nights of Alexandra Isak's career. If everything goes according to plan, right?
Yeah.
But here's what you cannot account for. Newcastle hasn't won anything in a long time.
Yeah.
And it's desperate times, right? If Liverpool lose this, they have the Champions League, they have the Premier League, they've won stuff more recently, including the league. They've won this Carabao thing before, So I think that's the difference. The hunger that Newcastle decides to show up with. So my prediction is it will still be Liverpool, but if Newcastle show up hungry, it's a winner take all. It's one game. Anything can happen. What's your take?
Historically, Liverpool have always had it difficult with Newcastle. So the game at St. James's Park earlier on this season ended up 3-3. Remember? It was
back
and forth.
Yeah.
Isak has always been, he's giving them problems. When it's like when he plays Liverpool, he has them in like, guys, I'm going to show you people better. He's always problematic when he plays Newcastle. When he plays Liverpool. Now, this game is after the Champions League. I think the outcome of the Champions League will have a significant impact on what this game will look like. That's what I think. Newcastle, this is what they are playing for this season.
That's it.
I expect Newcastle
and top four.
to come out
and top four.
And top four, right?
Yeah.
But I can frankly, if you ask Newcastle fans right now that they should pick one between this and top four, given where they are positioned on the table and stuff, what do you think they will go for?
The cup.
They will go for the cup. That's it. They'll go for the cup. And the coach also knows that I win this, my job is safe.
Yeah.
He knows I lose this, I'm in trouble. I lose this, I'm in trouble. I win this, my job is safe. So I expect Newcastle to come out hungrier than Liverpool. But at the same time, that midweek game, I wish we could have this discussion after the midweek game.
Yeah.
Because the outcome of that game, whatever happens in terms of the way the game went, in terms of injuries, it will have a significant impact on what happens in the game. But I hear you. On paper, Liverpool should win.
They should.
On paper.
It should be easy.
But
it should be easy.
It's cup football. It's 90 minutes. It's Wembley. Anything can happen.
Anything can
Do I want to win? I think I would love Newcastle to win.
Me too.
They deserve it. They've gone out of the Premier League, back into Premier League. They've yo-yoed. They've gone through multiple managers. Even they got Alan Shearer at a point, which was a disaster. They deserve something. They deserve at least something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if Liverpool win, I don't
care. I probably won't watch it, but whatever.
I probably won't watch it also, but we'll see.
But Yinka, on the top four thing though.
Yes.
So we're recording on Sunday. So by the time people watch this, Newcastle probably would have played on Monday. They're playing West Ham, I believe, on Monday.
Yeah.
So that will be their game in hand compared to their rivals. They've only played 27 times. They have 44 points. You were saying earlier that there's only 5 points between number 4 and number 9,
8,
which is
Newcastle. And number 9, yeah.
Newcastle, number 9. Yeah. They have 44
number
points.
9.
So if they win against West Ham, that would take them up to 6th, just under Man City, on the same points.
Yeah.
On the same points, but inferior goals difference. So that that top four is not out of it's really not out of whatever for them. So
It's not. And I
they
just
could get top
noticed
four.
Villa have actually played a game extra.
Yeah, 29 games. Yeah. So okay.
Anyway,
All right. So Arsenal's next league game is Arsenal is it at Chelsea or Chelsea at
no,
Arsenal?
Chelsea come to Arsenal. Yeah,
Chelsea coming
it's
to
at the
Arsenal.
Emirates. Yeah.
Yeah. What's your take on that? Neither team is particularly pulling up trees right now.
Yeah.
What's his name? Missed the penalty, which never happens.
Never happened before.
Palmer.
That's his first penalty.
Palmer missed the
Cole
penalty
Palmer.
for club or country. For club or
Yeah.
country. Yeah.
He's in a funk, serious funk, right?
Yeah.
Leicester, if they were better side, they should have won against Chelsea earlier on today.
Yeah.
So once again, I could throw a dice and just say, throw up dice and say, just let us know who's going to win this, because both teams are not. I'm sorry, both teams are not at their best. Arsenal for obvious reasons. Chelsea, I don't know the reason at this point. I don't know. They're just not. They just they're just not pulling their weight at this point. I know you will be surprised I say this. I think they are missing Nicholas Jackson. I think Chelsea is missing Nicholas Jackson.
I'm not surprised. I told you, like, I was rooting for the kid. You know, I told you he had improved a lot. Yeah.
Nkunku, oh nah, but this is my point. They say when in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is the king, right? If Chelsea are missing Jackson, tells you a lot. Go get a proper striker.
It's not that easy. It's not that easy.
This summer is going to be crazy.
Yeah.
Let me just tell all our listeners in advance right now. This summer is going to be crazy. Liverpool are looking for a striker because I understand
but go on.
Darwin Núñez is going to Saudi Arabia.
That's terrible. It shouldn't be going to Saudi.
No, so it's how much Liverpool want. They are the ones that can afford it. The young boy is from a poor background, a Euro guy. I can't blame him. But
he's already rich. He's already rich. He's already rich, Yinka. This is crazy.
He wants to be generationally rich. He's just rich. You know, there's a difference. You know, Chris Rock. Chris Rock should start paying us some things, right? He said Shaq is rich, but the MF that pays his salary is wealthy. That's exactly what he wants to be wealthy. So that's why I understand the Saudis came from him in January, and Liverpool were the ones that said no, not him. Liverpool said no. So once that's gone, this Isak pursuit is not only Arsenal. It's everybody's after Isak.
Arsenal is not getting Isak. Arsenal is going to get Šeško. They're not getting Isak.
But here's the thing.
They're not getting Isak.
Hear me.
Okay.
So here's the thing. Newcastle, right? They might just say we're not selling him unless they miss out on the Champions League or Isak really says I want to leave. If Isak leaves, Newcastle is getting Šeško ahead of Arsenal. They have more money to pay than you guys.
Okay, that's fine. Then go get Gyökeres.
So that's why I said there will be madness. So Chelsea also, they're interested. United, interested in strike. Everybody's looking for a striker.
Nobody's serious is going to United. Stop it. Quick play.
Okay. I hear you. But I'm just telling you, the madness is going to be severe, right? But there's a player I'm just going to throw out there that I think Arsenal should really, really look at, right? I was just checking and I just realized this dude is still 25 years old, right? And I think Morata, in my opinion, did him bad. You know who I'm talking about. Dusan Vlahovic is still a decent player. He's tall, he's strong, he's fast, he can finish. I'll go to Juventus if I'm Arsenal. Just give me this guy. You have Kolomwani, make his deal permanent. Give me this dude, right? That guy fits the profile of what you need in the Premier League. Yeah?
Yeah.
If Šeško is still... I like him.
Šeško is still
21. That's my point.
Yeah.
He's 21. He's not really... This is his first big season maybe second. Yeah? And it's the Bundesliga, right? They let you play. They leave you, right? When you come to the Premiership, things are slightly different. People will lock you up, kind of. They're not interested in playing. They just want to stop you from scoring. So I would prefer Dusan Vlahovic. But anyway, I digress. Arsenal, Chelsea, Akin, at this point, I'm probably going to go for a draw. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a draw.
Okay. So my thoughts on this. So I blame Pep for everything, right? And most of the time, I'm joking a little bit when I say that. For how boring football has gotten, everyone's talking about efficiency now instead of flair, right? That's all Pep. But I heard something by Frank LeBoeuf just today on ESPN. So this is not original. And Frank was like, all of Pep's kids are suffering. And I was like, whoa. And it was like, Maresca doesn't know how to get out of the funk. Arteta doesn't know how to get out of the funk. Pep himself doesn't know how to get out of the funk because they're all just doing the same thing over and over and over again. Side to side pass, side to side, because you don't have, because of, between all those teams, among all those teams I just called, there is no David Silva, there is no Iniesta, and there's no Xavi. None. And there's no one that even, to be honest, closely approximates those guys. Arsenal have Odegaard, but they only have one of him. Okay? Gone are the days when Arsenal had, 5, 6 Odegaards on the same team. Like when Wenger had half of his team, half of his starting 11 was number 10s. He had a number 10 on the left wing, on the right wing, playing number 10. He had a number 10 playing holding midfielder, Danielson. Remember this?
Yeah.
But now, so it was all through passes, through passes, through passes. Everything was quicker, sharper. But now you have this pass you to death with no incision. And LeBoeuf's point was, people have found Pep out, and inferior Pep is even worse. Which is why I keep saying it's not about Arsenal buying a striker. It's about Arsenal being unable to to create chances. Because someone asked today on ESPN, like, what play today could you say, oh, if only they had a world-class striker at that position, they would have scored? Not one time in 90 minutes did that happen. Not one time today. It's the lack of incision and the lack of creating chances. So the Pep way is going out of fashion, and the Pep disciples need to make a change, either in personnel and or in style. Otherwise, they're going to be in trouble, Yinka.
So I don't entirely agree with that perspective, right? And you and I have had this discussion before, and I've said this, right? That the most important position for Arsenal is Saka and Martinelli. Yeah? I've told you this. It's not Odegaard, it's Saka and Martinelli. Arsenal will only go as far as that left wing and that right wing takes you. I've said this. This is documented. And that's because of the way they play. They always settle and walk the ball to the wings and let those guys work their magic. Last season, when Arsenal was not scoring, it wasn't because they were not creating chances. When they had that lull of not scoring, they had chances. They were not burying them. That was when Saka and Martinelli were there. They just had that window where they didn't put the ball in the back of the net. And they came back in January and they went haywire and they were beating people 4, 5, 6 at times, and they scored record number of goals in the Premier League. It's the same thing that is kind of happening to City. Yeah? City's problem right now is teams would rather let them have the ball and say, we challenge you to beat us, right? And it goes down to the fact that they don't have the right wing, which is Doku, and whoever is playing the left wing, Savinho, are not at the level that we've had in the past of Riyad Mahrez and of Phil Foden, if you get what I mean. Yeah? So, to some extent, I agree if you pack City and Arsenal together. But nobody's playing Chelsea that way. Nobody's locking up against Chelsea to say we challenge you to beat us. Everybody's playing Chelsea. We know you can't. You don't know how to play. Play us. No. So that's why I said disagree. You can't add Chelsea to this. No. Not yet. I'm sorry. You can't. City, yes. I think with City to some extent, before I realized these guys are not as potent as they were in the past. Yeah. Arsenal is because their main man is not available. Saka is not available. Martinelli is off form or also not available. Even Jesus with his trickery is not available in the middle. Arsenal's front four is missing. Yeah. Arsenal are not creating chances this year, Akin. Last year, they were not burying chances. They're two different things. So I think people mix the two up. Last season, Arsenal, within that lull period that they were not scoring, it was because they were not burying chances. This season, this lull period, is because they're not creating as much. I've told you the XGs are less than 1 for the past 3 games. It's different. And that's because Saka, and don't let me say Saka, Martinelli, right wing and left wing are not at the level that it typically is. Yeah. So to some extent, I agree with LeBoff. Right, is slightly right. But please don't add Chelsea. I know he's a Chelsea fan and he wants to do association. Don't tell me people don't. Leicester didn't play Chelsea like that today. Now
it was end to end. It was
end to end.
It was. No, I hear you. I hear you.
So City, Liverpool, City, Arsenal, yes. The Chelsea, nah. Anyway, let's move on.
All right. Okay, Yinka.
Yes, sir.
I think that brings us to the end of games to look out for. Next, we will do lightning round questions. So lightning round just means don't think too much about it. Just say whatever comes to mind. Okay. So we're going to talk about one Ethan Nwaneri.
Yes.
Okay. So is he the best young talent England have had in recent times? And what do you project his ceiling to be? Yinka, I would say number one. I don't know where this question came from, but I would say I hate.
It's from me.
Oh, it's from you. Okay. So I hate that we're calling this guy an England prospect. It breaks my heart. But you know how I feel about this. Oh yeah. You know how I feel about it. But it is what it is. Is it the best talent in England? So I think that's tricky. And then it also depends on what your definition of recent times is. So are we going as far back as what's the name
as far
of
back as you want to go?
Okay, so I would say. So I was gonna say Rooney, obviously. You know, Wilshere was who I was thinking about.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Wilshere injuries and all that, but I don't think people understood what 18-year-old Wilshere was like. It was crazy. And a 17, 16, 18-year-old Rooney. And then Rooney in his prime was ridiculous. Like, I mean, Rooney in his prime was ridiculous. He burnt out, but he started really, really early. And frankly, even a 17, 18, 19-year-old Walcott. Notice I didn't say 16-year-old Walcott. The World Cup thing was ridiculous. Bringing him to the World Cup at 16 was ridiculous. But scoring 100+ goals for Arsenal, I mean, that's nothing to sniff at, right?
Yeah.
And that's what Walcott did, even though he could never decide if he was a striker or whatever. And then if you bring it all the way back to where we are now, Bellingham, you know what I mean? As just a grown man. He just came to the England squad already a grown man. You know, that's crazy. You know, like it's insane. You know, you can throw in Cole Palmer, you can throw in Saka. You know, Saka was there at 18 as well. But when I watch this kid, do I feel like I'm seeing something I may not have ever seen before? Yes. His style of play doesn't remind me of anyone. I'm not gonna lie. I think he's potentially one of one. There's elements in his game, obviously, that will remind you of Odegaard or Saka. a Foden sometimes, the way, a Wilshere sometimes. Which is why, Arteta has said he may end up being a false nine. We thought it was a number 10, number 8. Turns out he can be just as effective as a winger. Lamine Yamal comes to mind a little bit, just a tiny little bit, but this kid is his own man. So I think the answer is maybe. It could be. What's your take?
So I agree with you. At this age, I'll take Rooney Bellingham ahead of him.
Yeah.
I might even take Wilshere ahead of him. I think he ends there. At age 18, I don't think there's a better player.
17. It's not 18 yet.
He'll be 18 in a couple of days or in a week or thereabout. So roughly 18, 17, 18. Right?
Yeah.
I don't see, it's only Rooney and maybe Foden. Rooney, Foden
Michael
at
Owen?
that age. Michael Owen, another good one. Michael Owen at that age also. So those people, I would say, they were delivering at a higher level than him at this age. Yeah. So, but you see all the people that we mentioned, it's only Bellingham and Foden that are much more recent. The other guys are,
it's been a while.
So it's been a while. So yeah, is in recent times is one of the best young talent. Barking, there is a better player in the Arsenal Academy right now.
I know. Go for it. I know who you're talking
His
about.
His name is Max Daumann.
Midfielder.
Everybody listening, midfielder. Everybody listening, pencil down the name Max Daumann. You can get on YouTube and go check this boy out. This boy is a mix of Odegaard and Saka. He's a white boy. He's 15. He's left-legged. Crazy. I don't know how many left-legged players Arsenal want to turn out of that academy. Max Daumann is going to be a problem. Mark my words.
He went to Dubai with them. They took
he went
him
to Dubai with them. This is the guy that Arteta called one day. There was a story I saw, and it was in class. And I was like, "Where are you? Why are you not in training?" He said, "I'm in class." And I was like, "Oh, okay. No problem. Then when you finish class, come to training and stuff." The boy is good, and there's Wilshere at that age. You could see that Wilshere was playing with the brain of a 29-year-old guy.
Absolutely,
that's exactly the way this boy is. This boy is playing with the brain of somebody that is way, way, way older. Yeah, and if Arsenal don't find a way to start embedding him into the main, the Hawks will come out again and they will come after him.
It's just like Nwaneri didn't leave. He won't leave. The ones on the border will leave, like Aiden Heaven, playing for Man U today.
Chido Obi Martin wasn't borderline. Chido Obi Martin.
No, he wasn't. You're right. It wasn't borderline, but
problem also. United
but nobody.
Have a fantastic player on their hands. Congratulations to them. I'm not gonna be. I can goal scoring at that age. You can't. If you're putting the ball in the back of the net at that clip at that age, unless your attitude is not proper, unless you are not diligent, unless you're not hardworking, there is no way that will not translate.
You know who we didn't talk about is BRF, who has gone to Monaco, who was sold for only £4 million by Arsenal, and went to Stormgrass, right? I believe it was Stormgrass, and then got sold to Monaco, and then he's set a record. Is it a 95-year record? Whatever it is in Monaco. 3 hat tricks in 7 games. 3 hat tricks in 7 games in Ligue 1.
So,
and Arsenal need a striker.
Here's what I have to say about this. Balogun was higher on the profile to Max Bereth when they were asked.
Okay.
Right? Just to put things in proper perspective. And see, and you and I are involved in player development. There are some players that they boom early. There are some they boom late. There are some for the first 27 years of their life, they are just ordinary players. They turn 28 and they become world-class players. Things happen for different players in different ways. Max Bereth was below Folani Balogun while they were together at Arsenal. But now see what has happened. They are both in the same Monaco, and Max Barrett is benching for Larry Balogun. Yeah?
3 hat tricks, bruh.
You see what I'm saying? So the fact that Arsenal sold him for 4 million, I think they got a deal. When Stormgrass sold him, they got an extra. They got some.
No,
extra
there's
because of the
it's it's like 40% for the sell-on, but
they got
still,
some sell-on.
man.
I mean, they got some sell-on on it. Anyway.
Okay.
So in terms of Nwaneri's ceiling, I think he's going to be an England international. He's going to play for them. I wish he could play for Nigeria instead.
Me too.
I wish we could go meet his father and try and, sweet talk him into playing for Nigeria. But I can bet you, Akin, the international break that is coming in 2 or 3 weeks' time, I will be shocked if Nwaneri is not capped by the end of the international break.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think he will make it. I think Maizlu Skelly may not be called, but we'll see. We'll see.
Both of them will be called. Both of them will be capped.
You're probably right. It's the disciplinary issues for MLS.
No,
like it needs to.
Don't you know what England is doing now? They will just cap you and just keep you, so that you can't play for any other person. The Atalanta needs to get one cap.
Who is MLS? Is he Jamaican? Is some kind of Caribbean?
Yeah, Jamaican.
Yeah.
So that's what they want to do. They want to just make sure we cap you and we keep you, so that we're weakling every other people. Even if you're not going to play for us, we've capped you already. Yeah. And I think FIFA should look into that. We can talk about this some other time. Yeah.
We should.
If you've not earned a cap or in a particular period of time, maybe 2, 3, 4 year period, you should be able, right, to dump whoever you're with and cross over to someone else.
Speaking of, there's what's the name of the? I think it's left back at Newcastle.
Lewis Hall?
No. He scored against Arsenal in the Carabao Cup semi-final.
Oh, right back.
Is it right?
I know
yeah,
what
right
you're talking about. He's half Nigerian, right?
He's half Nigerian, and he said no. He said no to Nigeria. He's waiting for England at 29 years old.
He's not going to play for England.
It's amazing. It's just amazing. I'm like, the man said, I'm like, you're 29. They've never capped you. And you think now is the time?
He's not going to play for England, Akin.
That's just...
I'm trying to get the dude's name. That's what I'm trying to look for his name.
Is it Graham? I don't know. So...
Jacob Murphy.
Not Graham. Anyway. Yinka, let's wrap.
Yes, sir.
Bring it home. Bring it home for us.
Thank you people for the support so far. Thank you for liking. Thank you for the engagement. We really do appreciate it. Now we're on all social media platforms. I think we have a TikTok account now, Aki. I think we do. So please, let's do the needful in that regard. Continue to like, subscribe, share, tell your friends about us, engage us, send us questions so that we can discuss them on here. And guys, really appreciate. We're still on track to 1K. We're close, baby steps. We know, and hopefully we'll get there. And we can, deliver better content. Continue to engage you guys. We appreciate the follow. We appreciate the support. Thank you very much. Aki.
Thank you, Inka. Thank you, everyone, and we will see you next week.